Hello and welcome to another episode of Liberty Minute, where the news isn't made up but the votes still don't matter. Today's episode is brought to you with the help of Galco Gun Leather. Use code DOLL15 for 15% off your favorite holsters, belts, and other accessories. Today is a day of wild and wacky news. First up, Redditors took on the hedge funds this week and sent GameStop and AMC stocks to the moon. The idea is that it would force the big companies shorting the stocks to pay big money when it was time to close out. TD Ameritrade, among others, decided to restrict those trades, and Robinhood put a disclaimer on their app that GameStop and AMC were extra volatile and therefore risky decisions. NASDAQ's CEO and the Massachusetts Commonwealth Secretary suggested freezing all trades in so-called meme stocks for 30 days so that the hedge funds could cut their losses. The Massachusetts Secretary also showed his disdain for the plebes by calling the WallstreetBets Redditors unsophisticated investors. Several news outlets watched the stock changes in pure panic and attributed the stock rally to white supremacy. Seriously, that's not even a joke. In retaliation of the rally, there are all kinds of calls for new stock regulations. Discord banned the WallstreetBets server, and the subreddit temporarily went dark Wednesday night. Because remember, kids, market manipulation is only okay when the government and big banks do it. Also, yesterday it was announced that Biden would use the almighty power of executive orders to combat racism against Asian Americans by banning the term China virus. He's also expected to sign a ban on new fracking leases on federal lands, despite promising not to. And in a move I certainly didn't see coming, we learned yesterday that it turns out that Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio was an FBI informant this entire time. Tarrio is denying it, but Reuters got their hands on federal court transcripts from 2014 that show he was an informant for cases involving drug dealing, gambling, pharmaceutical scams, and human smuggling. It's unclear when or if his cooperation with law enforcement has ended. Regarding the January 6th Capitol riot, the DOJ announced that they are, in fact, bringing sedition charges down on those involved. The current count of legal cases is 150 federal cases and 50 cases in D.C. Sedition is a very serious charge with a history of horror stories behind it and a history of abuse. That will segue us into the next story, which is simply that MSNBC analyst Jason Johnson appeared on the network's show Deadline yesterday and demanded that the Democratic Party's next order of business should be to declare that all Republicans are terrorists. He added, quote, "You can't negotiate, you can't legislate, and you can't work with terrorists." Speaking of terrorists, the son of two of the victims of the Tree of Life shooting has filed a lawsuit against the NRA. The lawsuit claims that the NRA is responsible for radicalizing the shooter by promoting anti-Semitism. And finally, the Democrats made good on their promise to try and get more electoral votes and more Democrats in Congress by introducing a bill to make Washington, D.C. the 51st state. While the bill does have over 200 co-sponsors in the House, it is unlikely to pass in the Senate. Those are yesterday's headlines today in 5 minutes or less. If you liked this video, please check out my channel for my other long-form videos, as well as my live streams that I do every week at 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and 7 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.